Hello there, and welcome to the Tammy Tuckey Show. My name is Tammy Tuckey, and it's good to see you. So, today we are celebrating the release of a fan trailer with a creative cast and team behind one of my favorite Disney animated films of all time, Atlantis, The Lost Empire. So, I know not everybody has seen the trailer, so for those of you who haven't seen it, let's take a look. We're having some technical difficulties. I don't know if you guys can you guys see the screen? I don't think we're going to try this again. I'm so sorry, everybody. Let's do this one more time. We're going to make it work. I promise. Here we go.
Try to keep up, son. Maybe discovery, did we?
I don't think we're seeing this. Anybody in the group chat, can you just say just nod your head if you could see this? Can you guys see the trailer at all? Nope, nobody's seeing the trailer. Okay, I don't know if we're having some audio or just video technical difficulties, but let's just bring in the cast because I'm going to figure it out. It's okay. This is why we're live and we're going to have fun. So let's bring in the cast. Here we go. Hello, everybody. Come on in. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey.
One, two, 3.
Oh, there we go. Everybody's here. Okay, let's see. Can we do a group? There we go. Now we can see everybody's beautiful faces. How are you all today? Good evening, or it's really good afternoon for most of you, right? Everybody's based over in California, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Los Angeles. Good afternoon.
Well, let's have you guys introduce. Let's have you guys introduce yourselves to everybody who's tuning in right now. So we'll go, since we're in the Brady Bunch square right now, let's go down the line. So again, I'm Tammy, your host, and I'll pass it. Is it this way? I'm passing it over this way. Just your name and who you're playing in the trailer.
Hey guys, I'm Ian Harrison, and I'm playing the old man Whitmore. And now, December.
Hi, my name is December, yes, like the month, Cintron, and I play Audrey.
And then we're going back, and then we're going back again, back around.
Yes.
You got it, Pablo.
Wow, awesome.
Have you none of you seen Brady Bunch? What is going on here?
I have. No, I didn't. It's Pablo Mian. I have a degree. Someone gave it to me. I play Mole.
Hey guys, my name is Felix Merback, and I am Milo.
And I'm Isobel Roth, and I play Mrs. Packard.
Hi, my name is Andre, and I play Dr. Sweet.
Hi, my name is Jillian, and I play Kita.
Hi, my name is Bree, and I play Helga Sinclair.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm so glad you're here. Vinny is actually Perry, who's playing Vinny, is trying to jump in. Tori, I got to remove you from the green room because we can't fit him in because you're in the green room. So I'm just going to remove you for right now if you want to watch on YouTube. There's all this behind the scenes stuff we're trying to do. So hopefully, Perry, if you're watching, go ahead and go into the StreamYard link. I'll try sending it over to you. But I'm so glad to have you all here. It was a real wonderful surprise to find out that this trailer was a thing. I guess the best kept secret you guys have ever kept, right? Were you all just too excited? You're like, how am I going to keep this secret when you found out you're going to be a part of the project, right?
It was a wonderful secret, even just like in the audition part of not knowing what the project was, throwing the audition in there. I know everybody kind of was like, wait a second, this sounds, I think I've seen this before. And then just getting in there and doing the audition and realizing that it was just a bunch of us that loved the film so deeply that it was like, oh, as soon as we found out, I know everybody just kind of got super excited about the whole situation and was like, yes, let's do this.
Yeah, I was completely oblivious. I didn't know. I was like, oh, this sounds like a cool project until Tori told me what it was. I was like, oh my God. But then, yeah, I couldn't contain myself.
Oh,
Is that him? There he is.
There we go.
Terry appeared.
What's up, friend?
Hello, everybody. Good to see y'all.
Hello. Sorry about that. You're now in the
No
chat.
worries.
We were just discussing, the excitement of kind of keeping the best kept secret. So why don't we talk about the audition process? How did you read about it or hear about it, or do you know somebody on the crew who's like, hey, you know what, you look great for this role?
Yeah, so Tori reached out to me, and I knew her personally, and she said, I know an Italian guy, and so being Italian, check, that rules. And she actually mentioned that I really touched Jonathan's heart with I vaguely remember this, but I did a Star Wars thing, lightsaber impression in my audition tape, and he was like, I think I like this guy. So that was cool. A lot of personal connection.
I guess I'll go ahead and go.
Yeah, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what this.
Felix, I don't know.
I wasn't sure what the structure is, but yeah. So like, I'll try to be brief about this because I was actually on set for a different project, and I had submitted a media package to a casting breakdown that was not titled Atlantis, but like it looked suspiciously like Atlantis, and I was like, okay, well, this is great that it's not that, right? And then I got this callback request through Tori, our amazing casting director, saying that this was what it was. It was a trailer for Atlantis, and I was on set with my girlfriend at the time. I literally turned the phone to her, and I was like, "This is mine. Like this, it has to be mine. Like I don't care what I have to do. They are casting me in this role." So through multiple rounds of like submitting pictures of me with my glasses on, of like submitting the self tapes and all that, they eventually brought me on to this like amazing project with this incredible group of people. And after having the meetings that I needed to have with Jonathan and Tori and the whole creative team, Lauda, our wonderful DP Brendan, it was just like, it's so cool to see that everybody was not only like totally invested in the project itself to make it the best possible iteration of Atlantis that we could possibly make, but that everybody is such a fan of this movie, right? Like I remember watching this on repeat. We had it in the VHS, like weekly, like we were watching that thing all the time. So that wasn't brief, but that's how I got cast in the project. And I think that's how maybe some other people got cast in the project.
Yeah, shout out to Tori for using social media in a good way, because she literally hunted a lot of us down. That hey, you have the essence of each specific character that you were asked to audition for. I wasn't as familiar with the cartoon. I for whatever reason, I missed it, but I have a 5-year-old son, and when he kind of found out what was going on with Dad, he like flipped out, and I saw his excitement. Then I had a meeting with John, our incredible director, and I saw the enthusiasm and the love and the passion he had for it, which anything with love and enthusiasm, it just rubs off. So his enthusiasm rubbed off on me, and we just, once I booked it, I was like, let's get the ball rolling, and I was super excited. Yeah.
I also didn't know anything about anything. I didn't know anything about the film, nothing. I don't remember exactly, but I think I must have, I applied on Backstage, I think. And Tori got back to me with sides. And the sides were from some other thing. I actually went looking for them today. I went looking for that audition thing. And I'm going to just play, you can just listen to just one moment of it.
I don't know if we can hear it from over here. We're hearing police sirens.
Yeah,
is everybody okay?
Like,
That's me.
Did you steal a police car?
Yeah.
For your audition?
We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die.
Very funny script of it with a waitress who'd been working in a diner like for 40 years. And she says things like, "You're a little early, aren't you? What is it you don't want? You don't want the corn? You don't want the peas? Fish? We don't have fish in this place. T-bone steak." I mean, so it was like that. So we had a very funny time. this interview with Tori and with John and talking about all of that. And then he sent me, his link so that I could watch the film. And I, of course, loved the character of Mrs. Packard. So.
Yeah. I also, Tori reached out to me on Instagram and I was like skeptical. I was like, what is this? And then she just sent me the full breakdown. And that's why I was like oblivious, because I just had what Tori told me. I didn't really see it on any of the, sites or anything. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll send in a tape. I sent her like the first tape, which had no, there was no Atlantis on it or anything. And she basically was like, just tell us something about yourself and a funny story or something. So I did that, and then I got the call back, and she told me what it was actually for, and I was like, and then after that, I mean, I didn't have this one, but like I have another one that's like a crystal necklace on, and all the, everything, and I was decked out, and she's like, oh, you've seen this before, and I was like, I was a big Disney kid, babe, I know all about it. Not as much as her and John, because they can like quote the whole movie, but. Yeah, and then after the callback, we did the chemistry read, and me and Felix like instantly connected over being Midwesterners, and we had a good time, and I was like, that felt so good. And then I got the news after that, and I was like, couldn't continue.
Yeah, I actually, to piggyback off of that, when you came in for the chem read, I still hadn't really like technically been locked for the role. I don't think. I think I was just there to volley off of and do the chem reads with. But like I called John after Jillian came in, and I was like, I don't care who you go with Milo, or I hope, I know this project's going to be great. You need to cast her. Like she is by far and away, like she is key to it. And, it's like, obviously she's like the base of the project, and for good reason. She's so good.
Amen.
Thank you. So shout out to Felix, because that call did it.
No, it did not. If you were as soon as you walked into the door for the chem read, you had locked the role. But I just wanted to like make double certain that I wanted to take credit. It was a selfish thing. I was just like, hey, cast her.
I was driving through Laurel Canyon one day. Anyone around LA knows what that means. So I'm driving through Laurel Canyon one day, and I get a call from Tori. I did a play with Tori in 2021. That's how we met. And we stayed good friends after that. She calls me and says, hey, and it's as this conversation started, this one that we're having, is a big secret. This is over a year ago. And she's like, hey, I've got a thing. I'm casting something. I was like, you cast now? She's like, shush, I've got a thing and I'm doing this. And it's like, okay, I can't tell you what it is, but she inevitably eked out enough info that it was Atlantis and that they were doing this live action, but that she was very sparing with details. And I'm like, I'm late for work. And she tells me, and so I sew together that it's Atlantis, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, all right. Oh, what do you want me to audition for? Perry probably doesn't know this story. I was like, oh, so you want me to audition for Vinny? And because in years past in my personal life, because I love this movie, people have been like, if they do this, you got the mustache, just shave the rest of the beard and you could do it, right? Bomb, cherry, bomb. Like, I loved impersonating that character in my life. And so I was like, okay, so what do you want me to? I don't think I'm old enough. I don't know what this project is. And she's like, no. Actually, I'd like you to do the mole guy. And I went, actually, I'm sorry. I was like, I don't know about this. And truly, from the get-go, as an actor, I had a truly like arc of internal like self-belief that started at none, and then Tori and John, frankly, everyone in this family, brought me to a place of like, but I don't know how else to put it, like belief in myself, because I was completely incredulous at the beginning, like, and then they nurtured me. John and Tori like nurtured me to be like, listen, I understand what you're saying, but this character is such a pinball. He's so cartoony. He's so outlandish. He's so not real. And I was like, I know that I'm goofy and I can do all that kind of stuff, but like, I don't know that that's what you want in a live action thing. And they're like, no, we need, and Tori told me that she was like, I need, and this really touched me. She was like, I need someone who can do all that and bring it down to earth in a believable way. And I said, okay, I'll try. And all I can say, even as I sit here today, is I hope I delivered. But I do know that I had a freaking blast, and I was privileged in the sense that I got a direct call, and I did tape for them, but that I was in fact what they wanted. So it's been a hell of an adventure since then.
You definitely delivered 100%.
In a big way.
Dude, your audition tape is crazy. It is you have one of the best audition tapes I think I have ever seen ever. It's so committed. Didn't you think you put a lamp on your head?
I did, and I cannot make promises because I had a conversation with John on the phone this past week, and I said, I don't have this anymore, but I know for a fact, as some people here know, he does. I cannot promise this for the show, but if people stick around, you might see this audition tape today, because I told him on the phone, I don't have it. You're going to be on later than I am. I give you full blessing to play this absolute blackmail worthy footage of me.
Yeah, we were gonna leak it anyway. I'm sorry to
do it.
You know how
John, I hope John's watching because I haven't gotten that footage yet. So if he can send it over.
You were watching it on set, so we were like, this before we actually like met Pop. We were like, watch this. Whoa, this is gonna be good.
Oh, I didn't know you watched it before I showed up that day. That's hilarious.
Yes. Some of us were watching it. Like, you were awesome in it. You crushed it.
Weird stuff. Yeah, thank you.
The craziest part about Pablo's story was that he got cell reception in Laurel Canyon.
Unheard of. It actually didn't happen. He's been lying this whole time.
The craziest part is that I didn't crash, because also it was exciting when I figured out what she was talking about. I'm surprised I wasn't just like.
Yeah, I saw that. Dude, you're so committed. I love it.
I'm so sorry. I got so excited.
Well, you will be happy to know I sent it over to Corey, who's the original Moliere, and he really loved what you did. So he did text me back.
Yeah.
He really loved it, and he's very particular. So that's pretty high praise.
This, what you just said, Tammy, is the first in this whole adventure of any kind of remote interaction that I've dared hear or reach out for with Corey Burton, the original voice actor. I was like, I'm not going to bother him. So to hear that actually makes me quite verklempt. So thank you.
Verklempt.
I said what I said.
So it sounds like all of you found out that you got your respective roles about a year before production began, or was anybody kind of very last minute? Because I know there's only certain scenes that everybody's in. So it didn't sound like everybody was, together at one point in time, at least filming wise.
Like, this was literally like weeks after the SAG-AFTRA strike. So most of us, this was our first job as an actor coming out of a, almost a year strike. So we were enthused to get back to what we do and what we love. So when we got the audition and we booked it, it was like, game on, let's go. So I always take that into consideration. That was the first one back after a long hiatus. Yeah.
I think I was casted like maybe a month or two before we started filming. And Tori had reached out to me on Instagram as well after finding my photo on a headshot photographer's IG. And she was like, oh, you have the look that I want for this character. She sent me a really long, sweet message, but I was still like kind of skeptical. So I was like, okay, send me the sides. I'll hear them out. I'll see what this is. And I'm like, wait, this is the scene from Atlantis when Helga goes into Mr. Whitmore's house, the infamous rainy, thundery scene where she first like kind of scares Milo. And so I recognized it immediately, but I had no idea it was for an Atlantis project. I'm like, oh, okay. So this archetype of character is very Helga-esque. So I'll just bring that to it, which is my favorite archetype to play. Very femme fatale, feminine, but also very dangerous. And so, yeah, when they told me about the project, I was like, all right, this is ideal, because I am a big visualizer and I put Helga on my vision board of actors or of characters that I want to play in my acting career. And then boom, it just happened. So amazing what manifestation can do.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Big time.
The perfect Helga.
I believe I was casted, I think the same time as Bree, like 2 months before shooting, which I think everyone was casted way prior before that. I didn't know anyone on this project prior. I found it through Actors Access, and I remember that I wasn't gonna turn it in because I read the sides and I'm like, it looked familiar, and I thought like, oh, maybe it's just like, you know how sometimes you get sides where it's just like not the actual script, but there's like, here is kind of a script of it. So I was like, this sounds really familiar, but sure, why not? I'll do it. And the reason why I wasn't gonna do it because I had like a terrible experience with a different set, and I was like, maybe I'm overacting, and I was like, screw it, I'll just do this one. Why not? And I did it. And then also with the whole like, oh, like what did you do or something like question at the end. That weekend in San Diego, I sold a knife from a restaurant I was playing with it, and that was the story I told at the end. And John told me like, oh, that's like how we knew like we were gonna choose you. And I'm like, okay, cool, yeah. And then
Wow.
And then when I got there and everyone was just so welcoming and nice, I was like, okay, cool. It really like revived why I love acting, is because you guys and just the production itself, because I think we all been on productions that are a little tough. And then this one definitely like made me like, okay, these are the group of people I want to surround myself with, like hardworking people.
Yeah. Everyone was so passionate on this project. Like I was coming on days I didn't even have to be there, and I was just like helping with wardrobe and stuff. That tells you how much I just loved the people on this set and like being around everyone. I was like, oh, I'll come and do whatever you need me to do, because you know it was fun. So
Jillian, I have a little clip of you with your wig. I think this might be the first time. So if you want to tell us a little bit about this, let's take a look. Hopefully it works. There we go.
Hey,
Nice.
Is this before they cut it?
Very royalty.
Okay.
This
This
is-
wig.
this is after they cut it the
So
first
this is
time.
a 2-color difference.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So John and I first of all, John is like the best director ever in the world. He came with me to get my hair braided and like try on the rig, because there was 2 wigs. So this one was like more of a white color, the other one was like more of a blonde. And so he went with me to the salon to get my hair braided and for them to like do the initial cut and try to like get it to fit my head and you know do all the things. And then that was like the first time we tried it on with Apple, who was our amazing makeup artist and hair stylist and everything on set. And she kind of zhuzhed it up a little bit more and did her thing and added some more layers and stuff. But yeah, that was the iconic wig.
I tried to match the hair. I really did. As soon as I found out, as soon as John and Tori let me know that I got cast, I immediately, a huge beard, long hair. I immediately went and bought all of the bleach that I possibly could. I like the poor Sally's Beauty Supply was just like, what are you doing, sir? And I was just like, oh, my, yeah. And got to what you see in the film, which was, and everybody was like, why are you doing this to your hair? Like, it's all going to fall out. You're going to fry it. And I was like, no, you don't understand. This is for Whitmore. Like, I'm not messing around. This is commitment. So, yeah. So, and now, a little gone, but.
Oh, I love that.
That's awesome.
He's a comedian.
Well, I have a little clip of Packard. Let's take a look and see.
Yes.
Was this just a day shoot for you, or
Yes.
or were you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the hat.
I love that she has the cigarette too. I love it.
very canonical.
Because you know that would be cut now from Disney films nowadays. They wouldn't even allow Tom Hanks to have a cigarette in Saving Mr. Banks. So I'm like, if they're ever going to remake this, guess what's the first thing to go, guys?
I might be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I probably am, but I don't. Does she ever actually smoke the cigarette in the movie? I think she's always just has like a bent, like crappy little cigarette in her hand.
My God, she takes a huge drag before
she does. Okay. All right. All right.
Which leads me to
All
believe
right.
I'm not
All
quite
right.
sure.
Okay, I get it. I get it. I was wrong. I was wrong. I get it.
Dude, you're messing.
You're like,
with
dude,
Atlantis nerds.
she smokes like a whole pack in the movie. Like, what are you talking about, Felix?
The director has spoken. He does smoke it.
He does smoke it.
All right, so I'll leave now. I'll see you guys.
And the director of the original film, Kirk Wise, is the
Wow.
last smoking character to ever appear in a Disney.
Oh, okay, all right.
Wow.
Until now.
Yeah, right. Everybody take out your cigarettes.
Well, here's some behind the scenes footage. Oh, our director also sent us of you guys. I guess this is the submarine shot, right?
Yeah.
Preparing.
That's me. That's the PowerPoint presentation. Little slideshow.
I love your mannerisms with it. Everybody else is so disinterested.
Look at
Very gawky. Very.
I'm glad we're showing this because it's just a testament to John and his team and everyone who put much work in it. Like, I'm not saying that there's nothing there because those blue screens, that light, that camera, and those actors is a lot alone to put together. But comparatively to like multi-million-dollar budgets, anyone of those guys would look at this and be like, look at how little was there and look at what they ended up with.
Yeah.
I can tell you for myself, I can't speak for everybody, but for myself being on set there and doing this thing, I was just like, okay, it's not my job to make this look like anything. Good luck, guys. A year later, oh my God, like, it's amazing. Just, I don't know, round of applause and back claps to, the crew who made true Candyland out of thin air.
We do have a question from the audience. How did you as actors draw the lines between bringing out the essence of the animated characters and then with your own portrayals of those characters?
I love that. I love that question.
Dr. Sweet, it's almost parallel. It was almost in a spooky way. It's almost parallel to my life because I am a war veteran. I served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and just a lot of the things. When I got the job, I tried to snapshot the picture when they threw all the information of their backstories. I was like, let me try to see what else I could grab so I can kind of bring him to real life. But just the enthusiasm that Dr. Sweet had in those scenes in Atlantis was like, he just wanted to help people. You could just, he was just a great, big, gregarious guy who just wanted to help people. And when he got to Atlantis, he was able to, do what he does in the medical world and, try to save Kita's father. So it was pretty cool to see just the parallels of your real life and a character that, the great Tab created. So
I'd say in my audition, I went full bore Whitmore. I just got, cause I associate characters in my auditions. And so I was like, oh, this is, I have to do this as Whitmore. So like the suit, the whole thing, I don't remember. I think I did the yoga upside down thing, but yeah, nobody wants to see that. But I committed completely to Whitmore. And then it was like, because that was what happened. That was who I was comfortable with. And then afterwards, Jonathan and I were talking about bringing it back down to earth a little bit and bringing a little bit of Aion into it. And I quickly realized that I am Whitmore in like 30 years. Like in 30 years, I will be Whitmore. So there wasn't much to change. So it wasn't too much of a stretch when Tori and John did such a good job with. Probably none of us probably had to stretch that much as actors to really reach into the character and bring ourselves to it because we were already all so aligned with the characters.
Yeah. I think,
right.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's like a testament to how well written these characters were, and like just how nuanced all of them were. Like Kita's a warrior, but she's also like very playful, and she's like 8,000 years old, but she's also just so youthful. So, yeah, trying to bring myself to that was easy in a way because that's just how I approach all characters. But she was so human already. So
you look great for 8,000, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I tried.
Great.
What's your skin routine?
well, one thing that I wanted to say was like, you kind of have to bring a part of you to any role because like, I don't think truly escaping into something that is completely outside of yourself is possible. Like, so you draw off of whatever you can draw off of, and whether that's, you know, you're using some sort of substitution in your mind. If you're using a character reference, that's great. But it is a testament to the casting. It is a testament to the overall production that, like Ian said, we didn't have to try as hard to play a character, because one thing that Jonathan said from the start was, you know, we want to, you know, you make it a little darker, make it a little bit more grounded, make it a little bit more human. I mean, we're not remaking the animated film. We are paying homage, and we are trying to do something slightly different whilst also keeping an existing very beautiful fan base happy. And so I think that's where this is where you can see a lot of the, you know, some of the creative changes in the trailer. It is dark, it is gritty, it is human. And I think that bringing it down to that human level is really important, because you see the proof is kind of in the pudding. It's this like kind of massive achievement of like, you know, what John did, what Brendan did, what everybody in post-production did with that is so admirable. I mean, especially that last 30 seconds, I get chills every time. But I guess bringing it back around to the question, for Milo specifically, it would be hard to just do a shot-for-shot recreation of what Michael J. Fox captured in the voice acting department. And as legendary as that is, like, I had to kind of step away from the initial instinct that I had in the audition tape, which was to do basically you know, to imitate that performance. And so to bring a part of what I think makes me beautiful as an artist was really liberating. And that was enforced by production. And I think everybody had a chance to embrace their characters, bring a part of themselves, and, like, you know, make this a giant love letter to Atlantis.
I directly impersonated
Jonathan chipped in and said Whitmore's black.
No, dude, no. You'll see in the audition tape. This is just who Pablo is. This is just who Pablo is.
Yeah, no.
He is Mole.
You saw me fall out of the stool. I'm sorry, I interrupted someone who was going to offer a thought.
No, I was just saying Jonathan just wanted to confirm that the blue scarf was his contribution.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
And Tori said she loves the scarf.
It's a good scarf.
Is the only actual contribution I gave to the film was the stunning scarf, blue scarf.
Yeah, everything else was AI.
Yeah,
Not your,
I didn't even
your
show up.
performances. Yeah, no, you weren't there. You weren't there. You didn't show up.
Well, I do have Pablo's audition tape. You want to see it?
Yes, yes, we do. 100%.
It's here.
Be long gone, but okay, here we go.
Here we go.
No leak necessary.
Yes.
You have disturbed Satan. You have disturbed Satan! They're from around the globe spanning the centuries! What have you done? England must never merge with France. What's it doing in my bed? You have too many questions. Who sent you? Who are you? Who speak up? Me? I will know soon enough. Hey, let go! Don't be such a crybaby. Hold still. There you are.
Cue the lamp.
Tell me your story, my little friend.
Yes!
You have a cat, you're a 10 person, 2 years old, 7. These are all the microscopic fingerprints of the map maker. And English.
Hey, how did you...
This is an outrage! You must leave at once! Out!
Uh-oh. Sat in the dirt, didn't you? Mollier, now what have I told you about playing nice with the other kids? Get back! I got soap! I'm not afraid to use it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, dude, that was brilliant.
I'm beat red.
That was
certifiably unhinged. Certifiable. That was awesome.
If anything, that tape was like me being like I leaned into that. It's not commendable. I legit. I'm not being like I'm like I did the tape being like listen, Tori, I'm telling you, this isn't. I was completely. It's not doable. You want me to show you? Let me show you. This is real. And they were like, I love it. I said, what? It was like
you just got called a legend in the captions in the comments, dude. Legend came up.
Well, that's Brendan.
Tori says she watches it daily.
Daily.
I watch
That
it.
was great.
Well, thank you for that. Now Jimmy Kimmel can't use it against me in like 10 years.
He'll
I'll
find a way.
send it to him. I will send it to him.
Send it to him. Hell, let's get everybody on Jimmy Kimmel right now. But it was Tammy Tuckey.
Yeah, Tammy Tuckey first. You heard it first here.
That's right.
It was first here, and we're gonna get it out to the world. That's kind of why that's why I reached out to the wonderful directors of this fan trailers, because just being a big fan myself, it's like, well, all the work and hard work and effort that went into it, I think it needs to be seen by anybody we can get it to see it, because you all did a splendid job. So that's why I was like, we got to do this. So thank you guys for being able to come on. And I know you've sent some clips in, and Bree, I think you sent some photos in. So let's see. There's this new version of StreamYard that lets me show photos. So let's see if this works. So here's one.
Oh, sisters.
Nice.
Aww.
Slaying it, ladies. All right, and then who's this?
Oh yeah.
That's the man.
Oh my God, and me in the corner, bro.
Sorry,
You couldn't crop the picture. Look at me in the corner. What am I doing?
Oh my God.
Jeez.
No, I wasn't the only one mouth.
Yeah, I was like depersonalizing. I was becoming Milo.
Oh my goodness.
There he is.
I loved those sepia photos, the sepia tone photos that
Of me with the cat.
Yeah, those were so great.
Fluffy.
And
wow.
Oh yeah.
Yamashiro night was fun.
Yamashiro was great.
I
was
thought
overnighters.
the whole place was going to flood, and we were going to slide down the hill that night. So much rain.
But we didn't. It ended up being very safe and a very great experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
I love these shots, Bree. Thank you for sending them in. These are
Yeah.
great. And that was what I remember. Somebody said something about AI, and that was one of the comments that was mostly on the trailer that I shared on the fan page I have. Is this AI? And I just kept saying no. And here's an example of why it's not AI. Let's take a look at them actually shooting the fish flying sequence here.
Oh my God.
Oh, this was fun.
Wow. Let's kill Crocs.
God bless the apple boxes.
Oh, no Crocs in the digital scan? No Crocs in the digi scan.
Take it.
And it looks so great when you see it in the trailer, but you would never think it's this.
Movie magic.
Magic.
And we went through so many iterations of like levels of excitement writing the fish. And I don't know anybody who's ever acted on a green screen before or who has had to do that. And they're like, just trust me, bro, it's going to look great. Like you're only going to have to wait 1.5 years to see the final product. But yeah, they use like, I'm not sure if somebody was blowing, like it was using a fan or something, but it was blowing our hair back. That was wild. And then of course in the trailer, yeah, it looks incredible. I mean, we're flying through Atlantis and it's this like really seamless thing. But when you're on set shooting something like that, it's definitely different.
That's crazy. You're like, is this right? And John's like, trust me, it looks great. And we're like, okay.
We trust you, dude.
Especially the depth in that flying scene that they're able to achieve. They like zoom out. Look, there's a city behind them, and I was like, there was. Have I been gaslit by this whole situation? Like was that what happened that day? Is magic a warehouse of magic?
We got a fun fact from Kirk Wise, the original director of the film. Fun fact, we planned a Milo and Keto flying sequence, but had to drop it due to budget and schedule restraints.
Oh.
Interesting.
Wow.
No. That would have been great.
It makes me sad.
Now, the biggest news this past week, not Disney, is Universal Studios is expanding their theme parks with all these walk-around characters from all these different universes. And I was just curious for all of you, if you had ever gone to a Disney theme park and there was the Atlantis universe able to walk around and meet people, which of the Atlantis crew or Atlanteans would you like to meet in person?
Ooh. Vinny.
Packard. It has to be Packard. She keeps it real. No, she'll keep it. She'll
That'd
be
be
she'll be
We're all gonna
like she'll be
die.
real with you. Yeah, yeah, right.
Bye.
Okay, but
Where's the
imagine
lie?
this.
be
Vinny
honest.
blows up a bomb and it's when the fireworks that go off in Disney.
That's
Pretty
good.
good.
Tired December.
You
now.
would.
I actually want to meet Kita's dad, the king. Well, I mean, he's
That would
passed
have
away, but
person to have with us.
if I was in there, that would be the one. That would be the one. But can't meet Leonard Nimoy anymore.
We may have stumbled on, honestly, like a fantastic like Disney village that hasn't, or Universal, or anywhere where they would put whoever will have us.
Yeah.
Like, Atlantis village, where you have like Vinny's flower shop and you've got Cookie's kitchen,
Right.
terrible and amazing.
What?
Horrible. And then you got like a smoke stand that you've got Packard there. Like you could fill with everybody. I would probably want to meet Cookie. I know we don't have Cookie, and I know that narratively he's there, but I would love to meet him.
So you would have like a rock store, like a gemstone store, right? Like you'd have different pieces of dirt from different people's fingernails, like displayed out.
A dirt museum, if you will.
Yeah. It's hard to pin down. It's like it's part museum, part like minerals gift shop, part rock climbing gym.
Yeah, and you have to sign a waiver upon entry.
You have to sign a waiver, but it's mostly because of the smells.
Yeah, that's right. You could die.
Now, at any of the filming days, were you all together at some point, or did you really truly all meet each other when you had your opening night, when you had your screening night at the movie theater?
We were all together one day. We all like sat in the green room and watched the movie together.
Yeah.
I did not meet.
I didn't.
I didn't meet.
Yeah, some of us. It was one day where all of us like missed each other maybe by like 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But I didn't really meet everybody until the screening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of the screening when you first saw the whole thing to put together?
To watch that on split screen was just amazing because it just brings everything just full frontal to life. And it was the experience. I know that I'm gonna speak for everybody. We will never forget that. We will never forget.
Away.
Yeah, I am a massive fan of the film just in my own life, and I shared it with my kids. They watched it growing up, and so to be able to see that, I'm not joking you, it sounds so dumb. I cried, like, and it wasn't like playing Whitmore. It was like the film, the film ended, and I was like, I looked over at and I was like. I literally cried because it was, I don't know, it was just so moving to have this film be such a big part of both my childhood and my father of being a father, and then getting to be a part of it. It was too much. It was overwhelming.
Full circle.
Man.
Yeah, and to like live what that's we're all gonna cry is what Jonathan said. We are all gonna cry. No, and to live that moment as if like you are sitting in that theater discovering that they're making a full live action version of this movie that was so pivotal to you growing up. I mean, it was really surreal. And then it was a good call to play the original film beforehand, because we got to, see where it's like where the inspiration came from. Kirk, Gary, Don, everybody, like Tab, everybody who made that happen. It's like that's ground zero almost, and it's like that's the base upon which we worked. And then to see that trailer was like, it's like a core memory that I won't ever let go. And it's still getting love. Like tons and tons of people online and otherwise are eating it up. And it is a testament to, again, I want to bring it back around to the filmmakers, Jonathan, Brendan, Lauda, Tori, everybody who's involved in the making of this is like you'll see them in a second. They have a lot more articulate insights into how everything was made and how everything came about. But seeing that on the big screen was what we've all kind of dreamed of for decades.
Well, before we try attempting to show the trailer again, and unfortunately we got to kick y'all out, let's do a Kodak moment. So everybody, let's look right at your camera, and we're all going to take a picture together. So here we go on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. So nice to meet you guys. Hopefully I'll see you maybe sooner than later if something good comes out of this. Even worst case scenario, the 25th anniversary. I'm sure Disney's going to do something for that, maybe, But thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you for having us. Well.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you. Seriously.
Have a good one, everybody.
All right, kick it.
All righty. There they
Thank you so
go. Bye, everybody. You can continue watching on YouTube, my loves. And while we're waiting for the next group, let's play the trailer. Hopefully it works this time. Here we go.
Try to keep up, son. Made a discovery, did we?
An arrowhead?
An artifact containing secrets from another age. All you need to do is look closer.
Milo James Thatch, I need you to come with me. And this time I'm not asking.
Milo, my boy. Your granddad was a very secretive man. His last secret, he entrusted to you.
This journal is the key to finding the lost continent of Atlantis.
Oh, wait, easy. Don't jinx it.
First time out in open sea?
It's not going to be like this the whole way, will it?
I don't know. You're the one with the map.
Attention on deck. Mr. Thatch is going to educate us on the details of our expedition. Tell me, what do you expect to find down there?
Enough of these silly fairy tales. If you would please describe the digging.
We're all gonna die.
It's all waiting for you, Milo. Atlantis is waiting.
Now I'm not working. My mic wasn't working. I'm sorry. It worked. Yay. The trailer worked finally. And it was great to see it again. Every time I watch it, I get chills. And somebody says they can see my Atlantis mug. Yes, I have my little Atlantis back here. I have my plate as well. I make sure I always have my Atlantis gadgets and gizmos around me. So anyways, now we're going to bring in the crew and another member of the cast because we couldn't fit everybody on the same call. So let's bring them in slowly but surely. Hello, everybody. How are you?
Here we are. Great. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
We can.
Sounding good.
All righty. Well, we have the Brady Brunch crew. So why don't we go down the line? I'll hand it over to Tori if you want to just give your name and what you did for the project, how you helped out. So go ahead.
Hello. Hey, Brandon. Hello.
Hey,
Tori. I was the casting journalist. Hey, Brandon. Hello.
Oh, it sounds like somebody's repeating. Does anybody not have their headphones in?
Sorry, I think it's me. One moment. Technical.
I also don't.
Brendan.
I know, I'm a monster. I'm gonna mute myself for 1 sec. Or wait, you okay?
There you go. Okay, go ahead, Tori.
Hello. I don't hear. Okay, perfect. I am Tori. I was the casting director on the project, and I also did, everybody wore all the hats. So I think I was a background Atlantean, and I was assistant costume person, and I was a hand double at one point. We did it all.
Right on. Well, my name is Jonathan Munoz. I'm kind of responsible for all this. And I directed, wrote the weirdest script I've ever written, a script for this trailer. It's kind of a weird experience to read that. There's a lot of cuts, a lot of quick cuts in that script. But I also edited and worked visual effects for this trailer with the lovely support of my of my crew. A lot of people who are in this call who definitely did their best to make sure that, they were my second pair of eyes throughout a lot of the visual effects. And they made sure that I didn't let anything out that didn't look fantastic. So thank you guys so much. On to Lauda.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauda. I am one of the producers on this project. And I also just wanted to make a note that Tori was a associate producer as well. So don't forget that credit.
Thank you, Lauda. I appreciate you.
Yeah, hi. I'm Will Underwood. I was first AD on this, and I got to give insane props to Lauda and Ryan for just taking care of everything. I mean, they were so on top of it. It made everything so easy for me. Yeah, it was incredible. John and I've been making movies a long time, so it was really nice to kind of be part of the assembly for this one and see how it all worked out for them.
My name is Ryan. I co-produced it with Lauda, and yeah, it was a great experience. We'll talk more about it, I'm sure.
Y'all are legends. Hey guys, y'all know me, but I'm Brendan. I was the DP for this trailer. I don't know, this was just a project with a bunch of friends. Y'all are great friends of mine, so I don't know, this was a dream. Happy to be here. And thank you for
Kirk
having
Wise
us, Tammy.
says it is the dream team.
Thank you, Kirk.
And of course, the crew that are absolute legends, as you did say too, as well, Brendan. So I'm so glad you guys are here. Thanks for first of all putting this together. It sounds like all of you were Atlantis fans as kids. So do you remember the first time you saw the original film, Atlantis: The Lost Empire, and tell me what was that experience for you?
Tori, you want to go first?
Sure. I feel like I watched it in the theater with my family, but I have here the Atlantis, of which I play on my VHS player right here quite often, actually. And so it's just been something in the rotation. My family has loved Disney forever, especially the classics. And yeah, we were obsessed with it. I can't tell you that the first time in my brain that I watched it, but I know the amount of times I've watched it is a lot because I can quote it like the back of my hand. I know it. So
it's true. It's true. I've seen it. Yeah, so I'll go next. I definitely remember the experience of seeing this movie with my parents. I went with both my parents in at a movie theater in San Antonio, 2001. And yeah, I just remember the incredible sort of the feeling of being on the edge of my seat during this amazing adventure, action movie, and sort of not knowing really what to expect. I don't think that anyone really knew what to expect when this movie first came out, because it was such a cut against the grain project. Everything before that was, so heavily leaning into the Broadway musical sort of format. And this was a complete U-turn. I mean, it went in a totally different direction. So I don't think that, really anybody knew what they were in for when they first sat down to watch this movie. I certainly didn't. I don't remember, every single moment. Of course, I just remember very viscerally the image of the submarine dropping, after it's lowered into the water. That incredible shot lasts for more than a minute, I think. And, that must have left some sort of impression because, I think it played a big part in the reason why we're all here right now. So that was an amazing experience. And also I will add too, I do remember where I was sitting in that screening that, when I was 6 years old and I watched this movie. I was with my parents and we were sitting sort of like house center right, and that's actually the same spot that I sat with them during the screening at the Chinese theater when we watched this thing and the original animated movie in the trailer. So that was really, really special. That came full circle, and that meant a lot. So happy that all came together.
Love that. Anybody else?
I mean, I think we're going down the row, right? I think that Laura, that means you're up. It's your time to shine.
I'm not trying to reveal my age, but I was very young when it came out. I remember seeing Atlantis, Treasure Planet, Big Bear, Hunchback of Notre Dame. So yeah, I just have a very nostalgic feeling for all of these movies.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, I am also not trying to reveal my age, but I was significantly older than you guys. But yeah, my parents used to take us to the Texas Union on the UT campus in Austin because it was a cheap way to watch movies, and so that kind of became a tradition for me and our crew. And yeah, just for me, just watching the ships and watching the explosions and watching like the drama in an animated film was something I had never seen before and was totally blown away. It was like, oh, you can make anything that you imagine in your mind real. I'd never seen that in animation before. So, for me, it was definitely a seminal experience at the time.
I grew up in a household with two sisters, and so we just constantly were rewatching their favorite films all the time. And big Disney household, and movies like Atlantis and Treasure Planet allowed us to just all agree on what we wanted to watch. So it was definitely in the rotation of Disney movies on repeat.
Man, I'm not going to pretend to say that this movie was a huge part of my childhood. Actually, I wish I could. Disney movies as a whole, 100%. We had this cabinet of VHS tapes that was shelf full of VHS tapes that was like 5 feet tall, like 4 feet wide. We had literally like almost every single one, but Atlantis we did not have. And I'd only ever seen it once before John offered me this project, so I had to go rewatch it. And of course, it brought a lot of like nostalgia back, but I had to like relearn it. Now I've seen it 100 times. Of course, now I love it. I am biased, but yeah. So that was it for me.
And Christopher Carr, who's joined us, Rourke, thank you for hopping onto this one so we could fit everybody in. Hello.
Hello.
Look at that Rourke jawline over there.
Big cast.
When did you remember seeing the movie back in 2001, or did you not know about it?
No, I was very aware of it. A lot of the climate was kind of weird back then, but it was honestly, it was like since Darth Vader, it was kind of the coolest villain, that I had seen on film. Not that I identified immediately, and it wasn't. I was a bit older. I'm not revealing my age either, but I knew about that stuff under the pyramids. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not that old, but it would have been kind of like I was a little older than the kids going to see that film. But the characters, we would still in acting class, we would have, because I remember vividly, we would have speeches from that, because it doesn't matter if it's animated or not. The characters, I mean, they're so vivid and they're rich and they're so fun to play with that they make for great scene study in acting classes. So I remember that being a part of my world at that time, more so than it being an influence, as Jonathan was saying, his Star Wars in San Antonio. So it's like it didn't have that effect on me, but I saw it from I was a little bit older. So anyway, I'm babbling. Yeah, I saw it from a character's perspective.
Tammy, what about you?
Oh, I saw it when it came out too. I remember seeing it in the theater, and I remember seeing Treasure Planet. Those are two distinct movie experiences I remember. So I loved it. Always have. I had my VHS tape, but I don't know where it is now. But I have my DVD and my Blu-ray copy, and I am so happy I have them because I that's another. I was just tweeting the other day. Another lost form is the DVD is the behind the scenes featurettes, which if you do not have the original Atlantis DVD, you need to get that because Don Hahn worked notoriously. He was like, I'm going to make sure we have these amazing behind the scenes featurettes. And he did almost an hour and a half long one of Atlantis. And it's just fascinating to kind of look into that. And the DVD commentary with Kirk Wise and Gary and Don. So it's always like really wonderful to listen to those. So I remember just watching that over and over again when I was a kid. And, this was so great to find out about this. It was, again, what a big surprise to just be able to drop this after you worked on it for over 2 years, right? Is that like from start to finish, Jonathan and Brendan, when was like the beginning of this?
That's a great question because I actually had the idea for this project when I was back in college. I mean, so I will date myself. I mean, I was in college and I was going to college in Santa Fe, New Mexico with Brendan and Lauda. And this is 2016 when I had this idea. And I think I was definitely I probably had 1 or 2 substances in me. And I was just thinking to myself, like, man, what would be really cool, would really melt some heads is if there was a trailer for a live action Atlantis movie. And this is the context for this. This is back when Disney was announcing, I think around that same time, they were announcing their sort of run of the next 5 years. And I made it everybody's problem that Atlantis wasn't in that list. I remember posting about it and I was so upset. And so I think it was because of that. I was like, you know what? If there was like a trailer, you don't even need the movie, but if there was a trailer that was like done well enough, and people actually bought into it, and maybe you see it in a movie theater, it's somebody's iPhone, and you see some heads in the foreground, like that whole sort of like vision. I was, that was like this crazy idea that I had in the back of my head. It just wouldn't go away. It was like an itch that I couldn't scratch, and so because of that, this is around like 10 years ago now. I mean, I've been in Los Angeles. I moved here 5 or 6 years ago now. And just looking for ideas to put my time and effort into that are worthwhile. So we did, to answer your question, we did shoot this thing back in February of 2024, January and February 2024. That's when we shot this thing. We did about six days and change, which is crazy for 2.5 minutes. It really is. But I just wanted to squeeze as much time out of this, this experience as possible. And so that's the reason the days were so long, because I was enjoying every minute of it. But the idea was around for a while, and then you could call it about a year and change for shooting it and then post-production.
And then how did everybody hear about this project and join in?
Oh, can I chime in on that one?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm biased. John and I are roommates, so literally he's like 30 feet over there right now on his computer. But so I'd be like cooking in the kitchen or something, and John would be over in his room, and like John's always in his room like doing something on the computer. Like he's always like rendering something or editing something or whatever. But like he'd been kind of showing me like slowly over time, like, oh, like here's like a little submarine like test that I'm doing. Like he'd kind of like subtly mention the idea of like doing an Atlantis project. And every time he'd talk to me about it, I was kind of like, I don't know, like that's cool, but like, I don't know, it just sounded impossible. It did not sound possible. And yeah, I don't know. So just he'd been talking about it. And I don't want to say I doubted you, John. I never doubt you, but I had to be proven. I did. And I mean, and the first one, like the first render looked like Nintendo 64 graphics because it wasn't ready, and so I was like, I don't know. Anyway, and that's how I heard about it. Was I saw it forming. I saw his brain just like obsessing over it all of a sudden, being like, I think we should do this. I think we're gonna, so that's how I heard about it.
Yes, I remember John, I think he brought it up with Lauda or someone. We were at the Grove. I don't know, but I knew you were talking about a project with her, and I was like, well, project is that? He started talking about Atlantis, and I knew he talked to my roommate McKenna because she has worked on projects previously with us as costumes, and she was like, "Yeah, he's doing." He was like, asked me on like an Atlantis project. I was like, "Atlantis," and that's one of my all-time favorite movies. Like, how come? But I, you know. And then also he had talked to my friend Jamie, who also worked on another project with us, and she was like, "Yeah, John talked to me about like production design," and I was like, I was doing an Atlantis project. And so I made it a point to call him one day. And I was like, John, so here you're doing some project about Atlantis, you know, and he was like talking about it. And so my big question was like, who the heck are you going to get as Mole? Because Mole is like a cartoon character. And he was like, yeah, you know, I don't really know yet. And I was like, you shoot in like 2 months. Like, what do you mean you don't know? And he was like, do you want to do it? And I was like, I mean, I've never done casting before, but yes.
Oh, I thought meant you want to play Mole. Sorry.
I
have to be convinced.
It was, I was like, I'll do it. And he said, you know, it's a lot of work. And I was like, I don't care. I'm doing it. I'm starting today. I'll see you tomorrow. And like, I hung up the phone and that was that. And so I kind of forced myself onto this project.
Yeah.
Well,
and we're glad you did. We're glad you did, Tori.
Yeah.
John, I don't know if you remember this, but I believe we were on a travel job in San Diego, and it was after we were all staying in the Airbnb, and it's post-shoot. John comes up to me and he's like, you know, I got this idea I've been kicking around for a really long time, and I think I'm ready to pull the trigger on it. And I was like, well, you know, I'd love to be involved, whatever you need. And then we started taking coffee shop meetings, and that's, you know, meetings where we first discussed, like, he's like, I got this other producer I work with named Laura. After the first meeting, I was like, we got to lock her in. We can't do this without her. And it was just, you know, a lot of these coffee shop meetings led to us laying the initial foundations of, you know, crewing up from every department to, you know, scheduling it. And it all happened out of the same coffee shop. And that was, John, do you have a timeline for that? That was a long time ago, our first coffee shop meeting.
Yeah, I think M Street Coffee on Moore Park was our like central like production like, you know, office for this project once every week. Since, I mean, we started having those meetings together back in October of 23, I think. Yeah. And maybe a little bit before that, but I remember like the first, I distinctly do remember, Orion, like I was texting you and like the idea that I was like, how do I drop this? Cause like, this is such a big idea. Like, how am I is it going to be a long like, should I call it? I can't really reach it. Like, I think you were on set that day and I was like, I really want to like give him some, you know, something. And so I think I just sent you a GIF of the submarine. And I was like, I got something cooking, man. Like, do you want to? And I think that was like kind of my like mic drop moment. I was like, let's see how he responds to this. And you know, you were like, oh my god, like let's go, let's totally go. But yeah, M Street Coffee on Moore Park was, you know, we're still having meetings there. You know, it's a great spot.
We got one coming up.
Yeah.
It's so funny because it was Halloween 2023. And I had just finished doing a very independent feature film. And I was very energetic. And I called John on Halloween. And I was like, we need to do something together. I'm really hyped right now. I just did this feature film, super low budget. We need to do something together right away. And then 2 weeks later, he told me about Atlantis, which has been a long time coming because he's been talking about Atlantis for years now. But that was my push to John to get.
Are we frozen?
Wait, are we back?
Yeah,
I think we're good.
I think Laura's frozen a little bit.
No, it happens all the time.
Back to us. Please.
Oh, I think we got her.
Laura, I think we lost the last like 10 or 15 seconds of what you were saying because you froze.
Oh, just that that was like the main pushing point to get Atlantis going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And 3 weeks later, you said 2 weeks later after that, I reached out. 3 weeks later, you were like, what have I gotten myself into? This is a lot of work, actually. It wasn't a feature, it's not a feature by any stretch, but like still, even all that, we moved heaven and earth for this 2.5-minute trailer. I really saw everybody in this chat and beyond, like, just bring their A game every single day. And, it was very inspiring.
Chris, how did you hear about the audition? What was the detail about the specific character when you were reading about it?
I was living in the alley and no. I don't know, to be honest with you. It came out of the blue. And it's crazy, the serendipity, how Laura was talking. I believe I know the movie she was working on is with Gregory, a buddy of mine. If that's the same film that you're talking about, the little indie feature. But I don't know, it's kind of weird. I think I liked a post of Jonathan's. I'll let Tori expound on this. But I had known of Jonathan from a short film that he had done with a buddy of mine. Mm-hmm. And I was really impressed with him as a director. And the performance he pulled out of my buddy was fantastic. So I was like, I'm going to follow this dude. And anything that comes across, casting notices or whatever, I'm going to push my agents to kind of reach out to him. I want to work with this guy. Mm-hmm. So, plus, we know we have a common friend now. And so I must have liked a post or something. Tori reached out to me through Instagram. She slid into the old DMs.
I did.
So, I mean, and it was like, it was one of those things. It's just, it was under wraps. It had, Iceland Discovered, I think is with the title they had at the time. And it was, but then she got halfway down the page that she had written me, explaining how legit this thing really was. And it said Jonathan Munoz, and then it had links to his previous projects, and it had links to, the previous project and his socials and stuff. And I was like, Jonathan Munoz, wait a second. And so I was like, oh, yeah, I don't even know what the project is. I'm on board. And then I looked at his Star Wars fan film and I was like, oh, wow, that looks like it's straight out of Lucasfilm, because man alive, that looked fantastic. And then I started getting excited about it. I was like, oh, I'm going to have a Disney villain for my reel. This is going to be fantastic. I just know it's going to look good. And then, I don't know. Did I answer that question? I'll talk, dude. I'll talk.
No, it's great. And we have so many questions in the chat, so I'm going to read some of them to you guys. I know Nathan wrote, were there any cool shots or scenes that didn't make it into the trailer, or was everything planned so the exact number of scenes was shot? Because it sounds like it was everything you saw was what was done, right?
Not quite. There's actually a large amount of clips that did not make it into the trailer. Again, like this was, I was like, man, we should try this. We should try that. Like we tried, there's so many shots that are closer to, 1-for-1s from the animated film, and some that are just more experimentation. I think one infamous one, I know, Brendan, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about here, is, and Jillian is going to as well. I know she's still watching. She was gracious enough to let us shoot at her place. She has a lovely pool in her backyard. And we use that space for the shot between Jillian and Milo where they're up to their necks in water. And just so everybody knows, that we didn't do that in a real cave. There's other stuff in a real cave, but that shot was literally just Felix and Jillian huddling up next to a C-stand that had like this brochure, like, cork board, like, amalgamation of just like, little barnacles and stuff on it. And it was painted gray by our lovely production designer, Jamie Vaught. And she totally killed it on this project. That's the reason it looks so real, is because, the little crystal necklace that she got to light up, and also that piece of production design. Anyhow, what I'm talking about, what's not in the trailer, is there's a shot from behind her when she's walking up to, it's a scene in the animated film when Kida is walking up to the heart of Atlantis. They're in the, the crystal chamber below the king's, the king's sort of quarters. And yeah, we tried. I think we spent like about 6 hours on this. Ryan, you can probably tell me how much, because you were helping us with the schedule that day. And yeah, we spent so much time trying to get like the reflection just right, because what it was, it's hard to sort of articulate, but it's seeing her sort of like step towards it, and you also see the reflection of the heart of Atlantis in the reflection of the water. So it was a really complicated shot, and it looked pretty dang good the way that we captured it. But we just felt the way that the trailer was being cut together, and there's a lot of fast moving moments, especially towards the end, we couldn't really find a place for it. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of casualties, like that, making something that only has, so many number of scenes and clips. But that's one that I kind of, I wish sort of found its way in there, but still really proud of all the effort we put into it.
Mm-hmm. We got another comment saying incredible work. Everyone should be extremely proud to be a part of something so special.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're pretty proud, not gonna lie.
And here's the question that I think was the most asked question, aside from that AI question. Are you planning on making a movie? What needs to happen for that to work out?
I know. Well, we knew this question was coming. I mean, ultimately, the real people with the power to make this movie, the people who have the rights, is the Walt Disney Company. It's really up to them at the end of the day, right? Now, where we stand, I feel like we did our work. We wanted to sort of offer a glimpse into what it might look like if there was a live-action Atlantis feature film. But after that, it's really up to the fans. Because I think that if the voice of the fans is loud enough, then Disney will have to pay attention. It will be undeniable. And so that's why, us doing this program, us, sharing it on our socials, all you fans who are watching, if you could share it on your socials, again, if you haven't already, just getting the word out and like sharing this project around. I think that if it does reach enough people, then they will have to address it, and if they want somebody to work on it, there's already a team in place. So we'd be happy to answer the call.
Real quick, I want to chime in. Gary, who is one of the directors of the original Atlantis, just commented, and he basically summarized everything you just said. He said, money.
That too.
Many.
Well said.
Yeah, I'm only about, I don't know, $150 million short. But if I had it, I would try. But I'd also need the rights too. That would be an endeavor.
It would be one hell of a GoFundMe.
There is something about the fan impressions, and some of the comments that they've made, and it's just been, good God, you guys, this community. And Tammy, thank you for being a platform for us to reach this community, because I've never. Okay, let me step back for just 2 seconds. My work, as far as an actor goes, my work you don't really get to see. My work is done on the day that Tori calls me and asks me if I'm interested. That's when my work starts. My work ends the day that I'm picture wrapped. What I saw in that movie theater on the big screen was a culmination of everybody's work on the day smashed through Jonathan and Brendan's lenses and their purview. And so what the fans got to see was the work of that man up there in the corner and down here in the other corner. And the time spent in that little apartment, and it wasn't a Mexican restaurant, but it was a coffee shop, and all those things, the experiences that you guys pulled because you're fans and stuff like that. I am so proud to be able to have displayed my work as best I could on the days that we worked together. But what I saw on that screen was magic. It brought a tear to my eye, because as it says, and I've already won, and we discussed this, Jonathan, at length, I've won. And the coolest thing about one of the biggest lines that stuck with me in this movie was, and this is before I had kids, was, we were going to be remembered by the things that we leave our kids. And just seeing the smile on my kid's face, seeing his dad's big mug up on that screen for that flash a second was a dream come true. So, you know, if there's millions of fans out there that want to hear your story told, I mean, come on, man. What's a ticket price? $12? What's that? 22 million, $246 million. Come on. How much did you say you needed? 130 something?
The more the merrier.
We're all friends here. We're all friends here. Come on.
I think it's also that other thing. There's a lot of people who commented and said, well, you know, you can never really capture something that the animated film is, which is true, right? I think what we've been seeing is with Disney recreating all these films is they try to do shot for shot, but the ones that don't do that are the more successful ones. Like I feel like Maleficent took that story and turned it. I think Cinderella did a different version of that, and everything else just seems to be a carbon copy. And this is not what you guys were exactly doing. You know what I mean? And that's what I loved about it, because you don't need to make something a carbon copy, but you can take what you love from it and you can still nurture it and make it grow. Right. So I think that there's obviously a huge fan base for the film, because now Disney's incorporating Atlantis in many things, and we have the 25th anniversary next year. So what could be, you know what I mean? That's the question. And it is like perfect timing for what could be, what could happen. So I guess it is, if Disney does knock on your doors, are you in? Are you in for something like that? Would you be nervous to have it on your shoulders? Because, you know, that's there's a lot of, you know, fans who love this, and it's like, I would feel it'd be really difficult. You'd be nervous just to make sure it was perfect.
Well, on that note of being nervous, I feel like, you know, something I've learned throughout my time just working on films and film in general is that if you got the right team around you, you can move mountains. And it's really, you know, I feel like we have the right team around us. So nervous would be the right word, but at the same time, it's like getting to just make something with your friends like this is irreplaceable. And yeah, I think we could all agree that, you know, having each other, you can get it all done.
Yeah. Put my hair up and say, game on, let's do it. Come on. Just give me the money.
My goodness. Tori. God, she's relentless. It's beautiful.
Yes, she's about it. She's about it.
I did promise Chris I had a behind the scenes clip that he is in. So let me pull that up here while I'm looking for it. Here's another clip. I think, Jonathan, you sent this over from in the cave sequence. So let's play this.
Oh yeah. And I can probably provide.
Man, what a day that was.
There I am holding a light.
I know, yeah. This was done in Leo Carrillo Cave, by the way. We were doing it at low tide, because if we did it at high tide, we probably all would have been up to our waist in water. But I mean, that's the great thing about shooting live action, is you get to have this experience on location sometimes. It's not, not that this whole thing wasn't made inside of a studio. It was such a fantastic, and talk about being a little bit nervous, like that day was probably the hairiest that we had. It was such a cramped space, getting to that space as well. I think Jillian took a slip that she did not tell me about until the screening. She was like, by the way, yeah.
Nothing happened. Not anything. Let's keep going.
I know it was hard. It was hard. It wasn't an easy project to sort of like capture. And
especially the cave area.
The cave was the toughest. The cave was probably
and with the rain that day, the rain
downpour.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Well,
food for Jillian, and I think I climbed up the darkness and I couldn't see anything, and I just sat in the rain like, what is live,
I know,
because I forgot the key, and I had already like traveled up a mile or something to the car. I don't know. It was it was a lot, but it was so rewarding, honestly.
Yeah, I know. I want to ask Will, do you remember the very tail end of that day, I think there was like a rock that our set medic put near the oncoming waves. And there was like a metric for like how close we were to like, we should probably get out of here.
Because he put the rock there, and we're like, okay, this is good because tide's coming in. We're going to be really busy. We got the rock here, so we're going to know, hey, when the water hits the rock, it'll be time to start packing up, and we'll pull out, and everything will be great. And then Ryan rolls up and he's like, the water's at the rock. And I'm like, okay, cool. They're finishing up this shot. And he's like, no, the water's at the other rock. And I was like, what? Because there was the rock, and then there was like the barrier rock, which was like at the edge of the set. And I was like, okay, great. All right, everybody. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. That's gonna be the last one. Let's get the cast up the rocks. Yeah, that was lovely. Thank you, Ryan, for that.
And Jillian
Fast forward.
says she went to the wrong location that day.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That was a tough phone call.
Because we were on the other side.
When you put it in the GPS, I remember I put it on the GPS when I was about to drive, and the one that came up was like in San Diego or something. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to San Diego. And I caught it. Had I not caught it, I would have been driving down to San Diego. But I clicked the one like upwards towards Malibu. And so I'm sure that was just one of those things where found her way down towards San Diego. And that's it.
she called me. That was a tough call. She was really nervous about it. But I mean, we had it well planned out because we were at the studio that we were going to film in the next 2 days. We met there first. Everybody got in their costumes, and then we sort of like, as a group, we were going to migrate over, do a company move to Leo Carrillo. So in my head, I was like, she's already in makeup. She's already got her costume. Like, it's unfortunate that she's halfway to San Diego. I'm seeing her in the chat. So somewhere on the 5, there was a really nervous Jillian Noble dressed in full Kita outfit, just like super, super nervous and worried. But it all worked out. It all worked out. She got there still, like, ahead of when we needed her. And so I was like, man, I hope that she's not having too hard of a time right now, because I've been there before, where I don't punch in exactly the right place on the GPS. So yeah, a lot of empathy.
Well, here's another clip you sent over of just behind the scenes of shooting so who was doing the wind machine for this? Because obviously there was a little bit of wind, it seemed like.
So this was a fun one. I don't know if you'll see it in this video or not. We'll see. Yeah, so there it is. It's our key grip Ricardo, just out of frame. So
Yeah.
Shout out to Biggs.
There was 2.
the real oh yeah, you're right, there's 2. The real MVPs here, I remember they would just get tired. So like, every like take or something, we'd have to be like, all right, somebody else give them a break. That was a fun shot to shoot.
Yeah, that was great. There's a moment in that as well. I want to make a note of it. There's this is another outtake, but there's some dialogue that was on that stonefish shot. It's when Felix says something along the lines of, "Oh, I think I'm going to be sick." And then Jillian says, "Don't get it on me." And it's like it's such a great. We captured it. Like, that'll have to be in some other BTS material later. But it's like it's such a keto response. It's like absolutely on brand. Like that. I want that to live somewhere. It was so great. That was improvised. I did not write that. Like, that was totally these actors taking their characters and living and breathing within them. So that was incredible to behold. And they were just sitting on 3 little apple boxes. We didn't have any wind machines. It was just like, our key grip and another grip, just, with these, pieces of cardboard that we found in the alley, just like, making that scene work.
I love that, because I was like, oh, wouldn't that be a fun ride? Actual true Disney ride? Can
Yes,
you imagine?
it would be.
Yes.
Totally right.
I know. It would look just like this. I have all these toys like on my on my desk.
We'd wait hours.
Yeah, I've had these for a long time. These have been keeping me company in sometimes the lonely trek down VFX land. So,
But Jonathan, you didn't have anything sporty like a tuna?
no, nothing sporty like a tuna.
Darn.
Nope.
Okay.
I know, and they have the longer fish as well. That I think that was part of the toy line. But I gotta find it on
Have
eBay.
your McDonald's necklace?
The necklace has been sitting in my Toyota around my mirror for the longest time. I did have it in my pocket. I completely forgot. I was gonna bring it out at the screening, and I wanted to show Tab and Kirk, who joined us that day. But I had the original crystal necklace that I had in a Happy Meal. I've had that since I got it.
Yes.
It doesn't light
Me
up
too.
anymore. Yeah, it doesn't light up anymore, unfortunately. I think it lit up for like 20 minutes, and then it just light. I never saw that light again. But that's been in my car around my mirror, for the last like year and a half, just keeping me safe. So,
well, hey, I'm glad. Thank you guys for the crew for being here tonight. What a wonderful job. It's just thrilling, and I'm so glad to know that you guys are also big fans of it too. It was made with a lot of love. So before we end, let's do our Kodak moment. So if you want to look right at the camera on the count of 3, we'll just smile. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much. I know Brendan and Jonathan are staying on. So long farewell to everybody else, and I appreciate you being on the show, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy.
Thanks so much.
See you guys.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Have fun, guys.
See you soon. Alrighty. So long, farewell. Oh, I might get copyrighted if I continue.
Oh yeah, careful with that. Wouldn't want that to happen.
It's ask for forgiveness instead of for permission.
Yes.
That's the attitude, I think.
But you guys haven't been copyrighted on what you uploaded to YouTube yet, have you? Or
hell no.
I got to tell you, I had a very, very visceral dream last night where I logged into YouTube and it was taken down because the Walt Disney Company, blah, 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 copyright, whatever. I didn't even read all. It was all there. And it was so real. I had to I think I knocked over.
Double check.
Oh my gosh. This was a really tough. It had to be this morning too. When I woke up to that nightmare, oh man, it was very real. So I hope it wasn't a
yeah. I'm glad it's not real. I have a good feeling people have been seeing it over at the animation building, I'm sure. But you know what? I think it's time to welcome the 2 directors that brought the original film to hang out with the 2 directors of the fan trailer. Let's bring on Carrie and Kirk. Hello, guys.
Hey, there they are.
How you doing?
Hello. Hey, guys.
Hi, gentlemen.
Ahoy,
Gary, we finally get to meet you. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sad that I missed the premiere of the screening.
Weren't you snowed in, Gary?
Yeah, are you still snowed in?
No, it's like 65 degrees up here now. So
okay, good.
Yeah, it had been coming down all day, and the plows were running, and the roads were frozen, and it was just a mess. So
like most people when they
your fish car, your fish vehicle would have flown you there,
right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, and Tab Murphy, our screenwriter.
There he is. There's the man.
Greetings from Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where it is sunny but chilly today. Winter is losing its grip up here, finally. How's everybody doing?
Wonderful.
Happy to be here. How are you, man? Looks like you're having a good time out there with all the nature and snow and sunshine and all that.
I'm definitely in my element. Yes, indeed. Just like Gary. Well, Gary lives a lot closer to LA, though. So
I don't have nearly as many elk as you do. So. I feel cheated.
I have a bunch of extras I can herd down to the Big Bear area. Sure.
Yeah. I'll look for the UPS.
It might take 5 years or so, but I'll get them there. I swear.
So which of you heard about the trailer first? Tab, Kirk, or Gary? Who heard from the boys first?
I think we all heard about it. Dawn, right?
Yeah,
through Dawn.
Yes, Dawn shared a link to it, a Vimeo link. He sent an email to Tab, Gary, and myself, and mentioned, Brendan, that he had met you. You're going to have to tell us how you met Dawn, because I'm not 100% sure exactly what that was. But that's how I first saw the trailer. And I'm sure I'm speaking for both Tab and Gary when I say this. It literally brought tears to my eyes. After I was able to pick my jaw up off the floor, that's when I went and got a Kleenex to dab the tears out of my eyes.
It was kind of a gradual, opening for me, because I think I mentioned this when I emailed. It was like I was expecting another, because there have been other fan, like films and trailers and cast lists and all that. And I thought, okay, here we go. We're going to do that again. And it just right from the start, it's like, oh, oh shit, look at this. Holy shit, look at this. And it was just great.
It's actually good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I opened that email from Don, my first thought was, well, Don's really, sometimes he's a practical joker, but for the most part, I don't get emails from him all the time saying, check this out. Holy shit. So I'm like, we're either being set up for the biggest joke, or there's
that's not a bad
going,
instinct either.
Yeah, or there's something there's something going on here. And so I started watching, and of course I just was like, well, okay, these guys know what the hell they're doing. I don't know who made this, but they well directed, well technically, well shot, everybody in front of the camera, behind the camera. And when I finished, I knew I got to meet these motherfuckers. I got to meet these guys.
Family show. These upstanding gentlemen.
Sorry, I got to meet these guys because it really just it knocked my sensibilities right out of the park. Because as Gary pointed out, over the years, there's been a lot of
We've seen a few.
Yeah, and you see the casting suggestions come up, and you see, it's starting, and it's in development. It's just all a bunch of BS. And so you talk about pleasantly surprised. What an understatement! It was really cool, and I just I immediately thought, okay, somebody loves the hell out of this movie that we made. Somebody just loves this movie, because not only was that trailer sort of just a spot on, sort of like tonally and everything else, but the reverence to the original, while still making it their own, was just undeniable. I was like, I was so flattered. It's just like Kirk bringing a tear. That's the feeling. So flattered that they chose our movie to sort of hone, to bring the arsenal, the nuclear cinematic arsenal, to put on display that you guys did. So that was awesome.
I have to agree with Tab, and in listening to John and Brendan talk earlier, you guys really succeeded at what you set out to do, because it doesn't play as like a just a shot for shot recreation or imitation. It feels like a real grounded, like kick-ass live action adventure film.
That was the first thing that hit me was like young Milo and the Arrowhead and the Iceland trip. Was like, awesome. I love this.
I know. And that opening sequence, you guys, where we saw Milo and his granddad, I was like, man, I wish we had done this. I was like, this is so cool. It was just so cool to see Milo's monologue actually play out in real time, and be realized as a dramatized scene. And
every audition you guys made was seamless. Seamless. There was nothing that stood out to me like, oh, that kind of felt shoehorned in. No, it was all seamless. It was all taken from the inspiration of the story. Absolutely. Whether it was the spoken word or whether it was just inspiration from the world that we created.
And little snippets of dialogue or little sort of scenelets that you added, like that moment between Sweet and Milo on the standing on the railing of the ship. I was like, that's great. That would have been a great scene. I wish that was in our movie.
Right. How old were you guys when you saw it? The original version, the animated version.
Oh gosh, yeah, 2001, right? So 6 years old.
Oh, man. So you guys were right in the pocket.
Yeah, we were in the pocket, and John really got caught in the pocket. I had only seen it one time, and then many years later revisited it. Real quick, I wanted to comment on what you guys were saying about adapting a movie and not just making it like a one-to-one recreation. That I think is one of the coolest parts about this project. Was like, if we were just doing a one-to-one recreation and not changing anything, like it would just feel like a technical job and that's it. And like that, there's no love in that. There's no heart in that. There's no fun in that. The coolest thing was being able to love the source material and go off of it as a springboard to find like a new additions to it, you know, expand further on some areas, like change certain things, but then also be like, okay, but this scene from the movie is incredible and these shots are incredible, so we of course want to like pay homage to the work that you guys did. I don't know, just especially from a visual standpoint for me, but that was the coolest part of this whole thing for me, was like taking it and then changing it, morphing it, keeping it in some places, changing it in some other places, and then spitting out something that's new.
I'll second that.
But still,
it's, I mean, I want to bring up, Kirk, you mentioned in the chat earlier, the scene between, there was apparently going to be a scene between Milo and Kida on a stonefish flying, because once they discover, you know, how to actually get the thing working.
I know.
That was, you know, going to be the next move. And so I always thought to myself, I was like, man, like there's so many great moments between the two of them. But that's one that I always wish that I got to like sort of experience, is almost like this, almost like you're in Aladdin and they're on the magic carpet.
Funny you should mention Aladdin and the magic carpet, because we actually got flack in a story meeting from
my goodness,
from Peter Schneider, who was running the animation division at the time. We pitched him a version of the sequence, and I can't remember if we were still just in kind of beat board, if it was just as a beat board or a fully fleshed out storyboard.
It was never fully boarded.
Sequence. Yeah, it was never fully boarded. But in addition to the pressure that we were feeling in terms of schedule and budget, Peter was also beating it up because he thought it was too similar to the Aladdin moment, which, you know, personally in retrospect, I think is utter bullshit. Sorry.
Yeah. Also, I just feel like
I really wish I actually, you know, for 20 plus years, I wished we pushed back harder against that, because I really felt like the movie needs that at that point. It needed to open up. It needed, you know, these soaring
vistas. There would have been music,
sort of
but there would not have been a song.
No, there would not have been a song.
That was our tagline: fewer songs, more explosions. So
we had it on T-shirt.
I've always wanted one of those T-shirts, like, because Tammy, you brought up the BTS, you know, the material on the Blu-ray and the DVD, like that's stuff that I absorbed. You know, that was my everything. That was my bread and butter. Like, you know, pouring over it. You know, if you can't tell already, the documentary of behind the scenes, like Don Haas, is so well spoken, and you know, so are all of you gentlemen, and just talking about how much of a labor of love this was, and so. Yeah, I mean, that's something that I just, you know, I love so much. I have this also. This is the illustrated script.
Oh, yeah.
This was literature. This was my sort of Bible that I, you know, carried with me every day.
I've got mine back here somewhere.
Yeah,
oh man,
the original copy. But, you know, we want it to be authentic. We didn't want it to feel like, you know, of course we want to have our own sort of like spin on it. But that was a very delicate balance, you know, in the writing, and also capturing and editing, of course, is just, you know, we want to have our voice as filmmakers come through. But it's also, you know, at the end of the day, it's really just a love letter to not just the film itself, but also what it meant to each one of us individually. You know, that goes from, it touched me when I was 6 years old, you know, me showing it to Brendan and him having his own sort of reaction to it later in life, like when we were about to shoot it, like that whole spectrum of like how you come to this movie and what it means to you. I think that's what I wanted to pay homage to. It's like, it's our personal relationship to it, not just it in and of itself. So.
Well, I'm sure. I was just going to say, I'm sure in the prior chat, in the hour and a half leading up to this discussion, you must have talked about a live action version and how cool that would be if you guys could steer it, and why Disney won't pay attention to the fan base out there, et cetera, et cetera. And that's really, I mean, you guys have probably already talked about that, but that's really the crux of it, you know. I mean, it's trying to get their attention to. But the cool thing about this fan base that I didn't even know existed until the pandemic, these guys, you guys that go see that live action movie 2 or 3 times, it isn't just one shot.
Oh, yeah.
It's the kind of movie where I would go to it 2 or 3 times, you know. I mean, so maybe Disney needs to understand that.
Can you imagine?
Right?
Well, the fan base is finally old enough to buy their own tickets. I mean,
yeah.
These are the guys, the fan base now. At the time, they were 6 years old. They were 10 years old, you know, and while their parents were bent out of shape because there wasn't enough singing or talking bunnies or whatever. The kids loved it. They just didn't have a voice, and now they're all grown up, and and
they obviously have a huge voice.
You got to listen to them, yeah.
Well, it's Jonathan and Brendan. If there was to be a live action film and you guys were going to direct it, I think you got to put these three in it, right? But I think the only thing you could put them in as, right? Kirk loves this when I mention it. They really want to be those guys that have the helmets on and we don't never see their face because they love to do the. What do you guys do at the storyboard meetings? Kirk? Go ahead, do your audition.
Oh yeah,
let's hear it.
Gosh, this was like a running gag. We sat in me, Gary, Don Hahn, John Sanford, and Dave Reynolds. We sat in a story room for over a year, crafting jokes and bits of dialogue and bits of business for the characters. Every time we would review a sequence, as we were like finalizing like script pages before we record. But one of the things that just became a running gag in the story meetings was we would do like the voices of the stormtroopers. We would just be doing this, like constantly having like two stormtroopers. We had this running thing, and it never made it into the movie where you constantly
sounds like you got a cold. Yeah,
right.
A little bit. Yeah.
Right. You cut back to two stormtroopers, and they'd just be having just some off-topic conversation, like, "Hey, sounds like you're growing a mustache." Oh yeah. How's that coming in?
I'd like to see that Audrey in a gas mask, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, terrible jokes. Like we had Rourke saying, he was assigning tasks to all to like the various teams. It was like green team, set up a perimeter. Red team, refuel the trucks. And then he was like, brown team, dig a latrine. And then we cut to like the two guys in the brown team look at each other and go, yeah, that figures. So it's just stupid stuff like that. You kept that up for about a year. The two funny
Shockingly, none of that made it into the movie.
Yes, amazingly. Yeah. Somehow we didn't find room for it.
Well, if we some opportunity comes from Disney and we get to make this movie one day, you three will be the first three that we call.
Awesome.
100%.
We will find a role for you.
And Don. We should mention Don too.
And Don, of course,
Don. Absolutely. And special thanks to him. I mean, Brendan, you were in the same room with him and you sort of like, shared this trailer. I know you told me you had to like build up the courage to like,
I want to hear this.
Yeah. All right. Let me tell the story.
I want to hear this.
That's what somebody asked me. I want to know how you met him.
It's an old classic Hollywood, old, almost like it's from the 1920s. Like
this was such a crazy story. I've told this 100 times, so I can kind of whittle it down and not take too long to tell it. All right, so I work in Los Angeles. There's a lot of gigs, so corporate gigs, whatever, interviews, they all kind of blend together. So I was hired to be a camera operator on this interview, and all I knew is that it was an interview and it was at some Disney building, and I was like, all right, I didn't really think anything of it, because I've interviewed a lot of people, and I'm just a camera operator. I'm just working on it that day, and so we set up and we're rolling, and these two guys, it was Don Hahn and another gentleman named Chris. I can't remember his last name, but it was an author that Don, I guess, was working on a book with, and I didn't even know Don Hahn's name, and so of course I didn't know who it was either. And so, I'm like rolling and they're talking, I'm on the camera and they're talking about like Lion King and like a lot of things. And then like as they're going, I'm like, who are these people? Like, I should probably figure that out. And then we go to lunch, and during lunch I was sitting next to Chris, who is the other gentleman that was on camera. And Sean, who was the gaffer on this project, actually was on that project, on that interview as well. And he kind of like casually brought it up at the lunch table that like, oh, Brendan's been working on this Atlantis project. And I didn't know anybody in the room had anything to do with Atlantis. So I kind of was just like, oh yeah, we're working on this Atlantis thing. And he asked a little bit about it. And so I showed him like a little bit of a teaser that wasn't ready to show yet, but I showed him a little snippet. And then like, anyway, back to normal lunch conversation. And I didn't think anything of it. And then so after lunch, we're back to rolling. And then they continue talking on camera. And I'm like, who are these people? So I'm like at the camera and I'm like on my phone on IMDb at the same time. I'm like, and then, I'm like not really looking and I'm like, oh shoot, I should probably like hand the camera. Okay. And then I like came across Don Hahn and I was like, interesting. And so I'm like, and then I come down to Atlantis and I was like, I like had this whole moment. That whole section of the interview is probably out of focus because I was not looking at the camera anymore. And so I'm texting John while we're rolling, and I'm like, "You are never gonna guess who I'm interviewing right now." It's Don Hahn. He produced Atlantis, and then I should. Oh my gosh, I should share these screenshots with you guys at some point between John and I. But we're just like all caps, like, "Oh my gosh, like what do I do? I'm panicking. I'm scared. I don't think I should talk to him. Like, what do I say? I don't know." There's a whole thing of like fangirling so hard, but not wanting to fangirl. And then I don't want to go up to him and, be like another fan that I'm sure he's probably used to at this point. And so I was this close to like not even talking to him,
Oh, no.
I would always like equate it to like, you see a pretty person at a bar you want to go talk to, and then, like, I'm not going to do it. And then you don't. And then later you regret it. So that was gonna be me. I wasn't gonna do it. I was terrified, and I was like really trying to build up the courage. And then I had this voice inside of me that was like, if I don't do this, like I'm gonna regret this for the rest of my life. And I've never done this before. And then I finally built up the courage to do it, and I didn't have to do it because he talked to me first, which was so great. So we're in between takes, like we cut cameras, and Don, he like is in a chair and he like leans over and he's like, "So, I heard you're working on some Atlantis project." And I was like, inside I'm like, but on the outside I was like, yeah, we're working on this Atlantis trailer. And I tried to keep it cool. And he was like, I still have the original Shepherd's Journal prop in my office. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So we started talking, and then he said, come up and talk to me afterwards. So, we finished rolling, and afterwards I came up and talked to him, and it was such a surreal experience. Him being curious about this thing that we were doing after we were so inspired by something that he did and you guys all did. And then, he talked to the director of the interview that day and was like, send him my email. And he's like, maybe I can send it to the team. And I was like, okay, cool. And so, oh my gosh, Pablo, smooth operator. See what you did there. And so, the trailer wasn't ready. And I had told Don that, like, it's at 90%, but it's not really watchable yet. And so after this whole thing, John and I get home and we are like, oh my gosh, we need to finish this damn trailer. Like, we need to freaking get this thing done. So we're cranking, and like 2 weeks or something goes by and we're still not done. And so we were like, well, we need to send him something or he's going to forget we exist and this is never going to happen. So we sent him some, I was coloring it. So I like finished coloring some stills and sent him some stills. And then he responded, and the response was just out of this world. Did he send you guys the stills or just the trailer?
I just got the Vimeo link to the full motion trailer.
Okay. So he didn't share it until we shared the trailer with him then. So we sent him some stills as like a little teaser of like, all right, we kind of have an idea of what we're doing, I hope. Hope you like these. And he liked them. And then when we finally sent him the link and he shared it to you guys, Tab, I know we only have a few minutes. I'll try and wrap this up. We're at some like barbecue party thing, and somebody on Facebook messages me. I'm outing your age, Tab. Our generation, like nobody reaches out on Facebook. And so I'm like, oh, somebody messaged me on Facebook, and I was like, oh my gosh, Tab Murphy just messaged me, and you wanted to meet me, and I was like, what is happening? And this all happened so quickly. And so I'm at a party trying to like I'm sorry guys, but I need to. And I like went into the bathroom, and I was messaging you in the bathroom.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that was And so Tab invites us to get beer. We come over to Tab's house. It was a memory that I will cherish and remember for the rest of my life. And I'm happy that we now know you and our friends, Tab, and Kirk and Gary as well. But that's the story.
Likewise. I mean, I was not going to let this opportunity go by because I just had to meet whoever was behind this. And I had to not only meet you guys, but I had to hear the story of how you made it and for the budget you made it on. And I just, I just had to know how you got these shots and how you did this and where, all that stuff. Because I'm a curious George that way. That was a great evening. And then subsequently, everybody came over for a little mini bash, and that was a lot of fun too. So you guys deserve all the props you can get for this. This is a real accomplishment, man. It's really polished, really professional. Really cool. What a great calling card. I hope you all go on to make tons of movies and remember us little guys.
I really love your story, Brandon, just about meeting Don, because it's one of the things that every once in a while you get reminded about. You get reminded that sometimes magical things can happen here in this city we call Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And I love stories like that. And I love it when that kind of magic does happen. When creative people can cross each other's paths, and this kind of incredible thing is possible. And yes, as Christopher Carr says, that's Hollywood, baby. And it doesn't always work out that way, but when it does, it's one of the things that keeps me here.
Absolutely. Times get hard in this city, but then when things happen, I find myself all the time being like, I love this city so much. Like, it is just, there's so much magic here. And
I had that moment when I was able to join you guys for your screening and your after party. I was there on the rooftop going, my God, I love it here.
Yeah, this place is so cool. We're just surrounded by a bunch of other artists that love what they're doing, and that's it. Like, nothing's cooler than that. Just feels like a bunch of friends making art together, and nothing's better than that.
I've told people that was my experience at Disney. For 16 years, I got to make movies with my friends, and what could have been better than that?
Yeah. That is the dream. That's the dream.
No kidding. And we made two of them. I remain very proud of both of those movies, but Atlantis always holds a special place for sure.
Same for us,
because we broke the mold, man.
You did.
Look who's in the chat, you guys. Marc Okrand, who wrote the Atlantean language, is in the chat.
No way.
Mark, great to hear from you.
Oh my gosh. Wait,
the last 3 minutes, Mark. This is what it is all about.
What was I just saying?
Can I ask a question? I know we only have 3 minutes. But if there's any other questions, Tammy, that you wanted to say, you can totally veto me.
I have nothing else because I just enjoy listening to y'all talk. I like to give you a little something and you guys just take it wherever you want. So what questions do you have?
Okay. So Gary, Kirk, and Tab, this is a question for you guys and John. Okay, let's say hypothetically Disney is like, we want to do a live action Atlantis movie now. What are your guys' thoughts? Like, in general, what would your thoughts be?
Well, it better be as good as the 3 minutes you guys put on the screen.
Yeah, right.
That's what my thought is.
Just keep going. Just keep going.
What Tab said.
Man.
In principle, I've certainly had my share of feelings about the live action remake output of the studio. But seeing what you guys were able to do with this, and considering that the kind of DNA of our movie was in live action adventure films, this always seemed like a much more natural fit than some of the movies that they've tried to adapt for, some of the animated movies that they've tried to adapt for live action. But again, if it was handled with the degree of skill and taste and intelligence that you guys put into this, 5-minute trailer, bring it on.
Yeah.
Another thing I appreciate that you guys did, apparently just from a trailer, but I'm extrapolating, is that you weren't trying to fix problems, and this is something that a lot of the live action remakes seem to be hell bent on doing.
Problems.
We're going to fix the problems of the original animated one. Not naming names, but rhymes with cutie at the feast. Had a lot of problems that they needed to fix.
She has to carry him, right?
No
she has to carry him. Everybody has that question in their heads, right? Does she
right.
Pick him up? You have to
And
stand up.
you guys were, I mean, like I said, you guys were doing like the arrowhead scene where Milo finds the shale in the stream, and the Iceland trip, and it was like, those weren't problems. Those were things that we wanted to do or would have done, and it's the kind of expansion that you guys did that was really impressive, and I'd say keep doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll say I want to add too. I think that there's like so much to learn about the Atlanteans as well. Like, a little bit about their hubris, that's sort of explored a little bit by what the king says in his dying breath. And, when we see it in its heyday, I feel like, I kind of want to see more of that world. I want to see more about the war that they had to be part of. They had to use this sort of like nuclear weapon equivalent, like,
who were they fighting? I've
I
always
feel like,
wanted, people ask me that, and I've got theories, but I'd love to see that.
They were fighting the Na'vi. I mean, with flying dragons.
I thought they were fighting Lemuria myself.
James Cameron has taken that fight and run with it. I mean,
God bless him.
I actually think that the unbelievable amount of research we did for our movie, it was unfortunate that at the time we were basically working for a factory that was designed to crank out 85-minute animated movies. No more, no less. I mean, that was what the entire
they had the formula down. Time is money. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, it literally boils down to number of the amount of time
number
in the of
schedule, equals how much money,
number of artists,
does
number
not
of drawings, number of hours to do each drawing. We literally were designed to make these types of movies at a certain price, and they had to come in at a certain length. But we had enough material to sustain, a 3-hour plus movie.
Just from the outtakes from Jim Varney, we had enough for a 3-hour.
Exactly.
My God.
I mean,
and from Don Novello. Oh,
wouldn't it be so freaking cool if the studio were to commit to an Atlantis series for Disney Plus? I mean, something that had the kind of polish and budget of like a Marvel series, because there's enough mythology to sustain it.
I wanted to pitch a Kida origination story. That the movie ends when Milo gets there, but the whole thing is that arc from princess to warrior.
Right.
Awesome.
That would be cool.
She's not hanging out in the palace. She's she's slaying these big bugs with a big spear.
Yeah, well, exactly. There's a movie there for.
There's absolutely.
Hey, Mark, what do you think?
I didn't know this was happening at all. It was
oh my gosh!
This is great. This is great.
Oh man!
Wow, another very special guest.
Mark, Jonathan, and Brendan are probably going to need you if this real film happens. They're going to need you to help with the language again.
Right, it's a tough one to get down. The dialect is hard to accomplish. I've tried.
I have a ring that a friend of mine gave me that has a variation of the Atlantean A on it.
Yeah, cool. It's an A because, well, I mean, I don't have to. You guys already know. I mean, I'm so used to like that's my party trick. Is like the little idiosyncrasies about this movie. I just love them. They always come out. But you see the movie. You see at the opening of the movie what the city looks like. It's got all these rings around it, and that's, from my understanding, is why the A looks like that, and the dot in the very center is supposed to be the city, right? I think.
Yeah, it's kind of a very stylized map. very stylized overhead view.
So they managed to keep the crystal hidden for like how many years, and it's right there in the middle, and all you have to do is go walk on it.
Well, it's
and
in
it
the middle
opens
of a
up.
pond, but yeah,
What was that?
it's in the middle of a pond.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah, how
You
many
have to
people
be-
just go walk into a pond?
You have to be of royal blood, though. That's what I love about Kita's connection.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's her lineage is what eventually saves the city in the end. You know.
So if a couple thousand years ago, Kita was like skimming the pool and accidentally stepped on it,
and she's like,
I'm not
"What
going
is
to tell
this?"
anybody about this.
Incredible. Oh my
Mark,
god.
are you asked a lot? Like, do people come up to you and because we know you created wonderful languages for Star Trek, but do you get asked a lot about Atlantis as well, or are you fluent in Atlantean still?
I'm not fluent in it. No. Right after the film came out, I did, and then the interest kind of waned. But over the last couple of years, for some reason, I get more and more questions about it. I don't know what prompted the new interest, but it's great.
I think all the fans found each other.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the pandemic, certainly Tammy reached out to me during the pandemic to just ask me about Atlantis, and I hadn't talked about that movie in 20 years. I was like, oh, nobody asks about Atlantis. Now it just exploded, as Mark pointed out. I mean, it's pervasive, and Disney's taking notice because there's swag now, Atlantis swag showing up that never, ever had. There was none for 15, 17 years.
Oh, there probably was. It's just been in a warehouse the whole time.
I know.
They made a lot. They did manufacture a lot, and then when the film underperformed, it just never hit the store shelves.
I know.
I still want the skateboard.
Actually, they're creating a lot of new stuff too. They're creating I don't know who's doing it, but they're doing a lot of it, and it's
I was
pretty
being
cool.
snarky.
Oh,
I
my surprise.
I've searched for many years.
I didn't have that.
I've searched for one of those crew shirts that says
The sarcasm light is lit.
Sorry, less
Somebody
songs, more slogans. I've always wanted one of those shirts. I got to find one.
Oh,
Somebody asked about
that's a good
expanded
question.
material and if there were any extra scenes that any dialogue that you made that never made it into the show. Does anybody remember that? Mark, do you remember any other dialogue pieces that you did?
I don't remember any, but I wouldn't be surprised because it's the nature of the thing that you do more than what ends up in the final product. So I'm for sure made up a lot more words than are in the film.
Yes.
Man,
Well,
so for you, like they cut one line of dialogue, and you're like, man, I spent a week on that.
Yeah.
Okay, Jonathan and Brendan, I have a trivia question for you. What line in the film in Atlantean is told in Atlantean, but we never get the translation of?
Oh.
Yad Lacone, right? Is that it?
Yes. And what does it mean?
Is that it?
Kirk, you want to say what it means?
Shit. Oh.
You have a winner.
Yes.
The line
was that pronounced correctly, Mark?
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
The line everybody asks me is, what does Mole say to Kita? It's punched in the face. I mean, there's probably a dozen answers to that, but I think
I always thought it was a line from that disco classic Lady Marmalade.
Would you care to quote that for us, Kurt?
Oh no.
That's what I thought.
YouTube censors are
Kids,
coming for
you
us.
can look that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would have taken the movie rating up a notch. So they were like, yeah, let's not do that.
Do you think Disney would consider if they were to do it, would they be okay with moving it up to a PG-13 rating?
Oh, hell yeah.
You would think. I mean, oh my God. I feel like audience expectations have changed to the point where if you're going to release a big widescreen action epic, PG-13 seems just like a no-brainer.
Yeah, it probably should have been PG-13 anyway. I mean, the gunplay.
Not a Disney at the time. I mean, we literally we had. I mean, I'll tell sort of a. Yeah, I don't want to bring the energy down, but the true story. We actually had to do some judicious editing to the final cut in the wake of the Columbine shooting. We literally had to trim frames out of shots to involving gunplay, because of that.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
See what I did there?
That kind of action depicted in live action would bump up the rating.
Yes.
Yeah,
for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, it'd be an automatic PG-13.
I mean, and just the body count in the whole like submarine Leviathan, like that whole. I mean, that is like hundreds of people you just killed.
Yeah, but you know, it's all done very tastefully.
It is like it's there, but you don't show
a
most
lot
of
of it is implied.
Yeah, they get there and you're like, where did the crew go? Huh.
Nobody mentions that Audrey slams the door on a bunch of sailors rushing to get out.
Yeah,
I was going to mention
that.
I asked you.
She had to make the Leviathan was Darth Vader, and Audrey was like the person that wouldn't open the door, and then you know, we all know
the needs of the many.
I swear, you know, the two movies I wrote for these guys, we got away with pretty much murder on both of them in some ways. I mean, yes, I mean,
Hunchback of Notre Dame too. We should mention the name of it.
Yeah,
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah,
I know the three of us. We tended to take a few more risks on the movies that we worked on together.
Yeah,
and, it was conscious at the time, and we were always trying to push the envelope a little bit in terms of what you could portray in a Disney animated feature and still have it feel like a Disney animated feature. We weren't trying to, we weren't trying to do it in like a subversive,
sure,
sort of subversive, disrespectful way. We genuinely believed in and loved the medium of animation and believed that there was a wide range of stories that you could tell in that medium. And that included things that might be a little more dramatic or a little darker or a little scarier.
Or a little sexier. A lot of fans that I had talked to about this movie really appreciate the restraint that was shown in terms of the relationship between Milo and Kida. I mean, this is a movie that ends with them holding hands. Yet there clearly is a romance developing there. There's clearly an attraction. And so I was just like, yes, no kiss, no, kind of
no
any of that.
Wedding, no.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And again, that was us just as a creative team pushing back against, back a bit against, what had become, tropes in the types of movies that we were making. And also, and we said this internally, I remember saying this in the story meetings, this was a movie about Milo honoring the legacy of his grandfather and discovering and helping to save this beautiful civilization. It was not the story about how nerdy Milo gets a girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. The romantic subplot was just a subplot. And they had only been together for a day or so before, all hell breaks loose. And it seemed unnaturally rushed to suddenly have it, doing a big kiss at the end of the movie. It didn't seem real.
And those scenes where they did have a little interaction that could be, qualified as romantic, often were played for comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, often you guys would play it for laughs, which I thought, when she puts his glasses on, they go swimming, his underwear comes. I mean, you weren't. Yeah, I mean, it was. I thought it was great. I thought because sometimes that kind of the relationship that starts off that way ends up becoming a little awkward. Yes,
we love that.
Yeah, we have all felt that,
Yeah, I think you guys absolutely nailed that whole relationship of romance, but not too much romance. Because we all know, we've all seen so many movies and shows where they like force a kiss at the end, and you're like, man, like, come on, we didn't need that.
It's just seeds.
You guys
it's
coded
just
so
like in years, you know. I mean, it's more exciting when it's an unspoken thing, and you know it can grow later on. So yeah, the restraint.
And I always feel like, you know, in that transition we do from when we're back in Whitmore's study, and then we go cut back to Atlantis, and you know, Milo's dressed in Atlantean garb. He's got a big tattoo on his shoulder. Kita is now the queen. I'm like, clearly a little time has passed and this relationship has probably developed.
Yes, exactly.
And he hasn't
But later that day.
And they climb to the top and he pushes her off and says, "I'm king now." No, they don't do it. That's the, yeah. We've got rid of that.
He says, "Hail Hydra."
Yeah, there you go.
Plot twist.
I have to bounce, guys. I'm so sorry, but I had a hard out at 4 and that's already 4:15. So
I know we were having too much fun. I thank you guys for being a part of this.
Keep going, though.
Let's
Keep
do our
going.
Kodak moment. Tab, before you head, let's take a quick picture. So everybody, let's look at the camera. On the count of 3, 3, 2, 1, smile. Perfect. Thank you guys all for being a part of this, and let's cross our fingers. We'll get some good news, maybe, for something to happen.
Maybe make noise. Keep making noise.
There you go, Mark. I just want to say quickly, one of the kind of downside of being a writer on animated features, I don't carry on and get to work with everybody on the show. So I just want to give you props for the work you did in bringing a language to English words that I wrote, bringing a language to it in Atlantean, and you know, it was very cool. So
great.
You know,
thank you so much.
No problem.
I'm glad you joined too.
Yeah, exactly. Overdue. All right. I'll see the two of you guys. I'll see everybody eventually again. So
we got that 25th anniversary coming up. It's next year, so let's get
That's
ready,
right.
everybody.
Okay. Very good.
All right, go
Very
ski
good.
some slopes and, you know, eat some elk and whatever, Tab.
Oh yeah.
I expect elk chili at our next gala. Excuse me. At our next gala.
I can do that. I can do that. All right. Cheers, everybody.
See you, Tab.
Bye, Tab.
Bye-bye.
And thanks everybody else for joining this evening. If you'd like to see more interviews and reunions, you can subscribe to the channel. You want to help out the boys? Go ahead and check out the link below and watch that trailer 5,000 times. Share it, send it to everybody you know. Please spread the word. It would be very, very helpful. You could follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn. Everybody you've seen tonight, I kind of added all of their websites and their social media. So follow us all. Message us. I'm sure there are more questions we haven't answered, which is okay. But everybody would love to hear from you. Thanks again to everybody for being on the show. And it's just been such a pleasure. And as always, see you very soon. But remember, Atlantis is waiting.
Atlantis is waiting.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy.
Thanks,
guys.
Thanks for being here, guys.